What? Yeah, we're getting normal Minnesota weather. It's about 20 degrees right now. It's skiths of snow are flying recklessly, and roads are icier than a shindiggle. Don't know what that means, but they're
Are you in
icier.
a bar?
Yeah, we're actually helping a buddy of mine. We got to re-side a cooler.
Oh.
So yeah, we're just at the bar, bellying up early in the morning. We're gonna be knee deep on
It's
our
like,
lips by
woo,
about 11.
you're starting early,
We gotta
boyfriend.
get out of here by 11 o'clock. They open the thing up, so we got to get down here early and work about 3-4 hours today, and then shut her down. It's only the back bar, so yeah, this part isn't open, but we're knocking this cooler out in the next couple of days. But yeah, I had to get on, of course.
Yay.
How's things going for you, honey?
Huh?
How's things going? Rocking it?
Really good. Yeah. Yes. I'm doing some different avenues than what I was doing because it just wasn't working for me. So
Nice. Well, we look forward to hearing those methodologies as applied with your lovely self. And I know my main man, partner in crime, Mr. J. John's been chomping at the bit to bring on the lovely Brenda Brazil.
Yes, that's my real name, not my stage name.
No way. No way.
I love it. I am so excited to have you here today, Brenda. We are the Kong family. We're here to change the world. And my big thing for creating this show was I want to share stories because it was a story that changed my life. It was I thought it was a bunch of nonsense. I thought it was stupid. I thought water's water, which little did I know how actually correct I was, because water is just water. But KongsWater, on the other hand, it's something completely different.
That's right.
Once that incredible story came across, and I read that story from the lovely Brittany Dykes, who's going to be on the show tomorrow morning, by the way. Her story changed the course of my life. I read her story and I went, hold on a second, maybe this deserves some attention. And so I called my buddy Tim up and said, dude, next time you're up here, bring me some information about this KongsWater, and the rest is history. And, we decided to invest in our health, and that's it's been the greatest thing that I've ever done. I'm so grateful to be part of this family and be, because for me, anybody that has a KongsWater machine is a member of the Kong family automatically. Even Tom Brady, I've even allowed him to be part of the Kong family when I used to despise that dirty, rotten scoundrel.
No, he's that distant cousin that you have to claim, but you don't really want to. But
Yes, exactly. Now that I found out he made the wise choice of owning a KongsWater machine, now I understand why he has so much longevity, why he continues to just absolutely dominate his profession, and I just love him now. Now he's the Kong quarterback. And so anyway, Brenda, gosh, it's so great to have you here today. And I want to get started. I want to learn what happened for you. I want to share your story with people because we just never know whose life we're going to change with one of these incredible stories. And we've been so blessed over the last year to literally hear hundreds of stories, and it's been fantastic. And I know for a fact that we've changed many lives with the stories that have come across this show. And so what I'd like to know first is how, when, and why did you decide to get involved with KongsWater, and were you a skeptic like I was?
Oh, hi. Well, thank you so much I feel really honored that you asked me to be on this, number one. And so how? Well, 8 years ago, almost 9 years ago. Hey, Jewel. Almost 9 years ago, my son came home from barber school, and he was like, Mom, this water. And I'm like, yeah, what about it? And he was super passionate about it. And I was like, you know, smiling in his face and just like talking about him behind his back. Like he's crazy. He's in a cult. I really thought he was in a cult. And so, you know, he just kept on. He was so passionate about it. And then my mom at the time, she lived upstairs. We owned a duplex and she believed in it. And so she ended up getting a system. And I was still like, oh my God, I can't believe you spent this much money for a water system. And I still wanted no part of it. And then along that same time, I had a huge life change. And so, number one, I never drank water. And so my sister would always beg me, Brenda, you need to be drinking water. And I'm like, yeah. I'm getting it from tea and coffee and, you know, all the other juice, right? Like that's just a myth, by the way. Number one, you don't get your water from tea. You don't get your water from coffee. It actually, you know, you need straight up water. Anyway, yeah. So then at that time, I never drank water and I had a terrible, terrible headache. And so my son, I was in bed and I never get headaches. And he's like, here, take a couple glasses of this water. And I was like, whatever. Well, it disappeared. And I was like, oh, I took a bunch of, Advil or what have you. And that's what did it. Right. And so I just played it off like that. Well, then my mom had this dog named Milo, and he could barely make it up the stairs. And we were going to put him to sleep. He was limping. He would stop at the stairs. I'm like, you know, my mom was 75 at the time. So I was like, we need to put this dog down. Well, within 2 weeks of drinking this water, he was running up the stairs, chasing his tail. And actually there was this it's called The Edge in Minneapolis. It's a holistic newspaper. And I actually submitted the story into this magazine and they printed it. So if anybody wants a copy of that, I'm happy to send it to you. And so anyway, sorry, I got off track. So that's how I got introduced to it. Why I'm an enagic? Because when I started drinking this water, I noticed right away mental clarity. Like, and I thought I was having a flashback from my drug days, but it was like it opened my eyes up to, oh my God, like this is giving me more focus, more energy. And then pretty soon, and not claiming no medical claims, because again, I never drank water. I didn't know how dehydrated I really was until I started drinking this water, and it went down so much easier, and I could drink a lot of it. And then pretty soon, you know, when your body has the right stuff, it starts to heal itself. My back pain disappeared. I have degenerative disc disease. And I could not lay on my back. I'd have to roll over to get out of bed. And pretty soon I noticed, and it was gradual. It wasn't like, you know, right away. And then my knee pain, my vision improved. I don't have to wear my glasses for going to a movie or driving like I used to. So, and so I noticed what it was doing for me. So I couldn't shut up about it. So I was like, oh, you know, here, my cousin had acid reflux. Here, just try this. I don't know what it'll do. Just try it. And so she's like, Brenda, I don't know about that water. 2 days, right? My acid reflux is getting better. It's like, okay, well, no, I don't want any part of it. Okay, well, so I took it, you know, she didn't have it anymore. A week later, hey, I want to try that again. And sure enough, her body helped heal itself with the right kind of water, because we're made of water. So that's what I've been doing. I've been just sharing it. And you know, when you have something that's so good, would you want to keep it to yourself or would you want to share it? You know, I'm not going to keep this a secret because everybody needs this, everybody. And I've just shared it with hundreds and hundreds of people. And, you know, the positive feedback I'm getting from this just drives me even further. And I know that this is my purpose. I get signs all the time that this is my purpose, among other things. So, yeah.
Yeah, amen. And how long has it been that you've been involved with KongsWater?
I've been drinking it for 9 years, and I've been in the business, like this is what I want to do, for 8.
For 8. So yeah, you were a lot like me. Your first period of time being in it. I know when we bought our machine, we bought it for the sole purpose of our health. I didn't want anything to do with the business. And that was actually a huge mistake. I found out now what a huge mistake I made by not being more interested in the business, learning how the marketing plan or the compensation plan worked. Cost myself a lot of money. Kids, do not make that mistake. If you're going to get a machine, learn how the compensation plan works. Even if you're not interested in the beginning, like neither I was or Brenda was, you want to understand how it works. It's crucial.
Yeah.
Because it might just change your world.
Well, and
how
you
does
know
it
what?
change your world in that regard, honey? How is the business side
Oh
of this?
my God. So, you know, I want to tell you this too. So this came along at a time when I got let go from my job, and I was a flight attendant for 13 years, and I was devastated, just devastated. But it turns out it was the best thing that could have ever happened, because, you know, I was praying, oh my God, what am I going to do? I didn't have any college. I had some vocational training, but I wasn't actually, you know, like skilled per se. You know, I didn't have any kind of trade. That's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And, you know, going back to banquets, I was a server forever, and bartending and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't want to do that anymore. And then I found out about the business side of this, and it was like, wow, all right, I prayed for something that I could help myself and help other people, because that's who I want to be in the world. I want to help people. And this was the ticket. This was exactly what I prayed for. So, yeah, learning about the business. I didn't want to do it at first, because like, I don't know how to do it. I've never done anything like this, right? And people are saying it's an MLM, and I'm like, what's an MLM? So I was like, educated myself about why this is not an MLM. It's in direct sales marketing. It's like we're eliminating the middleman. How can you advocate for something if it doesn't work for you? And, you know, Nike shoes, for instance, they're $20 to make or whatever. And then they sell them for like $250, which is like ridiculous marketing. It's all in the money is all about the marketing and stuff. So yeah, the business side is incredible. It's a win-win. You help people and you get paid to do it.
You know, something I'd like to ask you to expand on just for a second, just because your story just hit a little bit of a nerve kind of thing, in that I've got a really dear friend who lives in Grand Junction, Colorado. Her name's Pam Waterman. And I rescued her husband years ago out of the river when he was freezing. And we've been really good friends ever since. Well, she was a job coordinator for a local college for years, for probably 15, 20 years. And all of a sudden one day she went in to find out that she'd been laid off. And it was she's going through that right now. And she doesn't know what to do. She is trying to find other menial jobs, whatever. Her husband, my friend, he thinks he's a scientist, and he thinks that this is it's just too much money. Even though it helped me that day on the river when I had a splitting headache and was hating my life, and you gave me some of that water, and my headache immediately went away, and I felt so much better. No, it's still too expensive. And but what I have talked to her about is, I'm like, honey, you know, you have an opportunity to create something special here.
Yeah.
Well, you know, and so it's kind of like, for me, hearing your story, I'm like, wow, that's Pam. That's exactly what she's going through right now. What would your advice be to the lovely Pam?
Well, you know, it's this business is simple and it's not easy either, right? I mean, I stayed dedicated. I was consistent. I felt like giving up a million times. However, I knew that this was it for me. And so never, ever give up. And I remember Linda, she passed now, but she was Linda Stoddard. I became good friends with her, and I'll never forget what she told me at one of the events. Brenda, never, ever give up. Never give up. Never give up. Even though you feel like it, it's just like pushing through that, because it's easy to give up, right? It's easy to get back into that, oh, this isn't working. Well, no, if you tell yourself that, it's not going to work. So, and just plant seeds, right? Sometimes people come back after 5 years, and that's what happened just recently, 5 years, I'm ready to get my system. So it's just give out the water, educate people, just talk to people. Whenever my mom and I would be out, she'd roll her eyes because I just couldn't shut up about the water. And she'd be like, oh, here you go again. I'm like, Mom, it doesn't give me good credit if you're rolling your eyes at me. But it was your fault that I even got started on this. I just lost my mom in April. And so, without her, I wouldn't be doing this. If she had not gotten a system, I never would be doing what I'm doing. No way. So I'm grateful to her and my son.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that your mother passed away. I know that my mother is a big reason why I do what I do, because she passed away 29 years ago from being murdered by doctor.
Yeah.
She was
that's what I think happened to my mom too.
Yeah, and she developed a cyst on the backside of one of her kidneys and poisoned her spinal fluid, turned her into a vegetable, and in 4 days she was gone.
I'm sorry.
And it was pretty brutal. And to this day, it still hurts, even though it's been 29 years. So I definitely have a soft spot in my heart for Mom, for everybody's mom, not just mine.
Yeah.
I adopt everybody's moms. I tell her, this is my adopted mom. I have about 10 adopted moms now, and maybe more. But yeah, so what about, this is kind of just, I'm trying to get out of you a little bit of advice for Pam, because remember what I said about stories. They're what change people's lives, and she might very well resonate with you, where with me, she's like, yeah, you're crazy, Jay. You've always been crazy. So, and you're a salesman. What about, I've heard this 1,000 times in the last 2.5 years that, oh, I'm not a salesman. Oh. Were you a salesman?
Hell no. I mean, no. I was, I had no, all I did, I keep it really simple, because I never sold anything. I guess, we all sell ourselves at some point, like, it's how we introduce ourselves to people. That's kind of like selling yourself. And people buy the person. They don't buy the product, because if you have somebody that's, angry, and, I'm not going to buy it from somebody that's angry and mean, you know what I mean? Whether I love the product or not, I won't get it from that person. So, but, if anything, I never sold anything. So I've learned so much about myself throughout this journey, right? Like I was afraid to talk to people. I was afraid to go up to people. I was, just all this fear it was in my head. So now I just go for it, and I just share it with everybody, and whether they do or don't, that's okay. But the point is, you're not selling anything. That's the whole thing. You're sharing this water. You're sharing this opportunity. You're sharing what it did for you, right? Stories are the basis, and I record my stories. And again, like, I want to protect the ship, and I don't want to say it did blah, blah, blah for, this person. However, you heard Jewel's story, and Jewel is a miracle, and a big part of the puzzle. She was doing a lot of things, she's brilliant. She teaches a lot about healing because she healed herself. I mean, without medical intervention. And so that says something about our incredible bodies and the perseverance to actually do it, right? So you're not selling anything. You're just sharing the information, the water, and what it did for you. That's it. Simple.
Yeah, like I always tell people, the cool thing about Kong is you don't have to sell Kong. Kong sells Kong.
Yes, the water does. I mean, there is no product out there where you can give product for 2-3 weeks free. No, you can't do it. This, yeah, I pump out hundreds of gallons of water. I'll tell you, like it's phenomenal. We have the most incredible product to me in the world right now. Like,
yeah. Well, it's like another thing I love to tell people and help people understand is that we have a product that everybody in the world needs.
Yep.
That hardly anybody has yet. That doesn't have any competition whatsoever on the planet. There's no competition. Absolute zero. There's a bunch of people out there who say they're just as good as Kong. Yeah. And like I mentioned to people, notice when you're looking at these other competitors, notice that they always compare themselves to Kong. Always. They don't compare themselves to each other. They compare themselves to KongsWater. And
yes. Why would you compare yourself to something crappy? You wouldn't, right?
Right. Look, man, they're all cars. There's Pintos, there's Fiats, there's Gremlins, there's, Matadors, there's Pontiac Phoenixes, and then there's a Rolls Royce. Well, a Phoenix ain't going to want to try and tell you that it's better than a Pinto. Or a Pinto ain't going to want to tell you it's better than a Chevy Citation. They're all cars. They all have 4 wheels, a steering columns, and AM radios. And they're like, woo, they're supposed to be all, and you can get it cheaper. Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, no one's lifting up the hood and looking at the engine inside and realizing it's just a whole nother animal. We got a mountain lion engine, and they have little tiny feline kitty cats, putty tats for engines.
Rare.
I love it. That is a wonderful analogy, brother.
I taught putty tat. I did saw a putty tat in one of the leeches.
And what I really love about this business is getting to meet you guys, people like you. Like, you can't, I mean, there's some, different people, but overall in this business, like the people I've met, oh my God, they're the best. The best. You guys are the best, and this is the best.
Well, I think you're reaching people that they want to reach. We're finding people that want more. People that want out of the matrix, that 40-40-40 scam has been perpetuated on this society for far too long. Get in line, get your degree, and go build somebody else's dreams. And I think what you're starting to find is a resurgence in critical thinking, a resurgence in belief in the possibility of what we're all capable of. And we sure as heck ain't going to do it clocking in and clocking out every day, mumbling and grumbling on the commute to and fro. It's just not a life, man. You're right. I think people are starting to recognize that, in a world of dysfunction and absolute chaos and complexity, Enagic and KongsWater and the whole philosophy, it just perpetuates and reflects, personifies simplicity. And that's what we're all really looking for, whether we know it or not. Some people are so indoctrinated into the chaos and confusion, they don't know what to think. It's supposed to be complex. It's supposed to be confusing. It's supposed to be, you're supposed to take this pill for that. And then when that pill starts to have different side effects, you're supposed to take this pill to address those. And it's just, that's what my doctors, and it's just blah, blah, blah. The simplification Kongan brings to one's lifestyle is like, give me a Mai Tai and a cigar and a lawn chair on a beach right now.
Amen.
That's a really good point, because I've been guided. Think about people that make mistakes in life, and whether they're under the influence of drugs or desperate people do desperate things. So then they get a felony. Well, you know what? When you have a felony, then you don't have a prayer all the time of finding a job, a job, a just over broke. So this is the solution for so many people that have made mistakes, and society is putting on them like you're this way forever. This gives them the free reign to have their own company, to work at, for themselves and make money doing it. And, win-win. Everybody wants to have a purpose and wants to be, applauded in this life. I think we all want the same things, health, harmony, prosperity. Those three things are what we as human beings are. That's what we're supposed to do.
Yeah. So, we all know that this is an incredibly life-changing company. I know I still have yet to meet anybody that's gotten involved with this that hasn't mentioned that it's drastically changed their life one way or another. And before I ask you this next question, I want to, throw out this caveat, just because it's super important for people to understand that KongsWater is not a cure for anything. It's not a miracle. It's not magic. It's, what it is it's a tool. The human body is this incredible machine that has the ability to be its own mechanic. And it, it can't be its own mechanic if it doesn't have the right tools, just like just like an auto mechanic who's working on a car. You got to have the right tools. And what KongsWater is it's a gift. It's a gift that was given to us by God and Mr. Oshiro, that I'll be forever thankful for. And, it's truly amazing what the human body can do when it gets the right tool. Mm-hmm. And so I love to get, because like I said before, you never know who's going to resonate with who, what story's going to kick who upside the head, and make them realize that they should be looking closer. But what kind of things have you seen happen over the last 10 years? What kind of success stories, either on a financial side or a health side? What kind of things have hit you the hardest over the years?
Well, number one, like financially, it's really changed my life in that respect, as it's helping. So I work in a group home overnights for developmentally challenged women. So it's 4 women, and I go in Monday night at like 10:30 to 8 in the morning, and I get paid to sleep. It's it's really awesome. Basically, I'm doing it for insurance purposes. But anyway, so if I didn't have Enagic, I would have to get a full-time day job as well. Like, working, and I'd be working all the time, and I don't want to do that, right? So this has really enabled me to, keep my home. Since my mom passed, I've had to be responsible for both units. And so this has really saved me because I don't want to have somebody living with me 24/7. And I haven't had to do that, because I have Enagic. And some of the things that I've heard from other people as far as what it's done for them. And I actually want you to have this young woman on your show sometime, because her story is really amazing. She was drinking that essential water, thinking it was the best thing in the world, right? Yeah, thumbs down for sure, Shansky. Because they just add baking soda to it, and it's a really expensive gimmick, is what it is. And so anyway, she was drinking that. She swore by it until she had come across this, and oh my God, now she says she'll dehydrate before she drinks anything else, because of the difference that she noticed. Because they add baking soda to that water. So it's not, you can add baking soda to tap water and call it alkaline, but it's not the same thing. That's not the main property of this. Right. And other people, like energy, weight loss, sciatica pain. Again, like the water is essential to life. Like Sean was talking about the car. Our bodies are like engines. And if we don't add oil, or in our bodies, water, then the engine seizes. And so we need that. Blood is 90% water. Our muscles are water. Our brain is 80% water. So if we don't give our body the right water, or water, period, right? Then nothing works. So if you give your body the stuff it needs, the stuff it, eating too, right? Like the water is not just, if you drink the water, you can eat crappy. That's not it too. And that's what it did for me. Actually, it changed my consciousness as to what I wanted to eat. Like I didn't want to put that fried food. I didn't want to eat that, chip anymore. I didn't want to, I never drank soda, but yeah, it just changed all that for me. And I was addicted to drugs and alcohol. And when this came into my life, and I chose to quit drinking because I saw it was taking me down a really horrible road. A lot of my friends had died from alcoholism and drugs, and I was headed that way. And what I found out about addiction and the body is when the body has something that makes it feel good all the time, right? Drinking, drugs, it wants more of that.
Yeah.
And when you give the body the right stuff, it doesn't crave that. It craves the natural stuff. So for me personally, I've never relapsed in all that time. And I saw people around me relapse, go back to drinking and drugs. And that didn't happen for me. And also when I learned about addiction and I just touched on that. Sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. Sharing myself like this, it's, but anyway,
your vulnerability is beautiful, and you need to hold that thought and regroup, because you just gave me insight and an idea to a new theme song for KongsWater. And you just nailed it. We got the right stuff, baby. KongsWater turns us on. That's a little New Kids on the Block, but nevertheless, I digress. Please proceed.
There's so much hope out there for addicts and alcoholics. It's rampant. People are wanting an escape out of their reality, and they don't feel good. So, that drug or that drink or even the prescription pills, that kills more people than alcohol and drugs combined. So that's another issue in and of itself, is a problem with, there's this video about Dr. Corrine Allen, and she talks about the brain on water. It's brilliant. I learned so much about that too, and how water affects our brain, because not all water goes to the brain. It mostly goes to the bladder, right?
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Like, you want to go to the bathroom so that you detox all that crap out of your body.
I've had people tell me it makes me crap too much. And I'm like, good Lord, so you want to be plugged up like you got a big old blog of commodity cheese in there? I mean, at least, I tell people pridefully, I'm not full of shit anymore, so you can't ever say that, Wetzel. Wetzel's full of shit. No, I am not.
You are so
I love
funny.
it.
Oh my
I
God.
love it. That is so.
You're full of shit in a different way.
In a different way.
I'm not full of shit anymore. What a concept, huh? There was a day that I was full of shit, but not anymore. Kong changed that.
Yeah.
Well, and listen, when you learn that 90% of your toxicity is harbored in your colon, and one of the most cleansing, effective, efficacious modalities of eliminating that, what a string of words. I'm kind of nasty this morning. Is just being able to drink Kangen. Again, simple, not fiber, not Metamucil, not, grain or whatever the heck we're taking to loosen up our stool. Geez, we're just drinking water. And it's just like, it's that simple.
Yeah. And, colon cancer, esophageal cancer, those are all on the rise. I mean, it's just what we're putting in, and through the mouth and through the colon, that's where a lot of disease enters, I mean, if we're backed up and whatever, anyway.
Yeah. It's like Coach Mabry talks about all the time. The brain and the gut are linked together.
Yes.
Brain health is tied to gut health. And, our brain is an interesting aspect because of the blood-brain barrier. It's probably the most, next to the blood, the brain probably has the highest percentage of water in it, but yet on the other hand, it's the hardest part of the body to hydrate because the water molecule is just simply too large to get across that blood-brain barrier. And
Right.
that's where Kong comes in, because the molecule is so much smaller and that hydrogen goes right across the blood-brain barrier. I always tell people it gets to your brain before it gets to your stomach.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's true.
when I
And
learned
that's
that.
the mental clarity you're talking about.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was just gonna say. Yep. It wasn't a flashback from my acid days.
So, Brenda, I got another question for you. This is always, I love this question because of the different answers that we always get. You're out there, you know, wherever. You're out there at the grocery store, you're, you know, at the gym, you're doing whatever you're doing, and you have an opportunity to talk to somebody just like real quickly about KongsWater. And you've only got like 30 seconds, maybe a minute at most, because you're in the checkout line or whatever. And you only get one thing to say to somebody about KongsWater that hopefully will take them off the fence and get them to jump off the cliff and put their flight suit on and get after it. What's that one thing that you would say to somebody out there?
You mean like a brand new person who's never heard of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or
So
maybe even somebody who's heard of it, but they're not sure about it, whatever, you know, what's the first thing that comes to your head when you get a chance to?
well,
to
I'll say
talk to
something
somebody
like,
about
oh, like if they're like, for instance, I was at the co-op and I saw this person filling up their water, you know, in the big 5-gallon, and I'll say, oh, I see you care about your health. You know, what if I told you I had a water that would be different than this? Would you be open to it? If they say yeah, and he said yeah, okay. I said, I'll fill that 5-gallon container up a couple times, and you just free. You don't have to buy it. Fill it up for free, and you just try it and let me know what you think. And that's, you know, instead of, I used to say, oh, do you know that water you're buying is really bad and acidic and oxidizing? No, people don't want to hear that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
who are you? Where'd you come from?
Yeah. Yeah, I've made that mistake a few times myself, and yeah, the route you just said, that's a way better route.
It's all in learning, you know. I mean, it's I learned from my mistakes, plenty of them. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, that is so exciting. And so you've been involved. I think you said to me the other day that you're a 6A in the company, aren't you? That's just for people out there who don't know it. The 6A position is basically the top level that you can reach in this company as an individual. You can help others get to 6A as well, and then you can rise even higher up the ranks. And
yeah, I'm almost 6A too, actually. So
awesome.
Yes, that's what perseverance, right? Like, you know, it's consistency and persistency and never giving up. It's we can limit ourselves, definitely, or we can, you know, get ourselves out there and know that anything and everything is possible. Everything. Whatever your mind, whatever you believe, you can achieve.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting because I read the book Think and Grow Rich a long, long time ago, but the tenets of it really never hit home until I got involved with KongsWater.
Mm.
It's kind of interesting how much this company has shifted my thought processes.
Yeah.
And, you know, all for the better, for the so much better. You know, now my wife and I, we have a company that we're running together. She bought a machine. She has a business center. She's in my downline, and now she's running around telling everybody about KongsWater, you know.
Yeah. It takes, you know, I got so many people excited about it, and it takes time for some, because I'm blessed. I don't have like a full-time day job. This is what I do during the day. Like this is what I do. And, you know, a lot of people have that 9 to 5 and they're still trying to, you know, work it out. So yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I love your story. I think that's fantastic. And,
Thanks.
you know,
Thank you.
we're in a constant barrage of trying to help people get over their skepticism, you know, because
Yes.
being a
Oh boy.
skeptic is actually a good thing. It's not a bad thing. You really should be skeptical of things, but you should also do your research too. And just
Yeah.
instead of just discounting something because you think you know something, you know, you don't know what you don't know, right?
It's called contempt prior to investigation.
Yeah,
Like you
exactly.
say, that's, and I used to be that way, you know, oh, I don't like that. Well, have you ever tried it? No. Well, how can you even say that, you know, but it happens a lot, and that's fine. And this guy that just got a system, he was the same way. He's like, well, I put, you know, lemon and blah, blah, blah in my water. And, you know, he was super skeptical. And as he started, he calls me superhero now. So finally got a system, and you know, it really made a believer out of he and his wife. So he's already going to start sharing the water with people, and he knows some pretty like influential people. So I'm really excited, you know, for that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic to hear. So one of the big things beyond sharing stories that is my goal with putting this whole thing together is that I'm trying to get people who resonate with each other hooked up with each other.
Yeah.
Because somebody might not want to might not want to work this business with me, but they might want to work it with you. And if that's the case, that's fantastic. I love it, because ultimately what my goal is just for people to have this machine, whether they get it from me or you or anybody else. I don't care where they get it from, just so that they get it.
Yeah.
And because it's so dang important to the human machine. And it's literally the solution to the health problems that we have going on out there.
Oh yeah.
So as we near the end of every show, I like to give the guests the opportunity to give out whatever kind of information they would like to give out about themselves, because people who are going to be watching this in the days, weeks, months, and years that go by, if they don't know how to get a hold of you, how are they going to get a hold of you and get to work with you, get a machine from you, and that kind of thing. And so before you can give out whatever information you want, whether you want to give out phone numbers, emails, websites, whatever. That's fine with me. That's completely up to you. But I want to let everybody know out there that if you're going to send Brenda a friend request, please tell her how you found her, why you're sending her a friend request. Don't just leave her blind, because the problem is there's a lot of kooky things going on out there on Facebook per se. And so do people the common courtesy. When you send them a friend request, say, hi, I saw you on that crazy Kong family show. You're awesome. I want to work with you. Something like that. But with that said, Brenda, how do people get a hold of you? What kind of information you want to give them so they can hook up with you?
Thanks. Yeah. Well, I'm on Facebook. So Brenda Brazil, Brazil, just like the country. Also, I can give out my phone number. You can text me and just say, hey, this is blah, blah, blah. And I saw you on the Kong family show, 651-334-8742. And then I have a website, the H2O Patrol.com. My dad was a water patrol for like 30 years. So I kind of thought that was fun.
I love that.
H2O, H2O Patrol.com.
The H2O Patrol. I love that. There are so many people in this business that are so creative with the things they come up with to call their company,
Yeah. And I want to actually get business cards that have like a ticket. Like I can write them a ticket for what kind of water they're drinking. You're under arrest for drinking that kind of water.
I'd imagine Brother Wetz really loves that.
Oh, big time. Big time. I'd be handing out. And what's funny is I went over to Germany a couple of years and I got one of those at the Nike clearance store. I got one of those referee jerseys where one pocket's got the red card, the other pocket's got the yellow card. It's the same concept, just running around handing out red cards to somebody that's drinking water. of not of the Kangen variety.
Oh, wow. Brilliant.
Hey, listen though, I want to address this, and I didn't want to interrupt you guys, but Kostica put this out there today, and I thought this is interesting as heck, but this is a quote that he shared, and it is not at all applicable to Kangen directly, but indirectly and just on principle. It's exactly what we're dealing with in terms of people and the critical thinking stuff that I was kind of referred to briefly earlier, but this is a quote. I don't like the idea of being a skeptic. Not that I don't think you should be skeptical of certain things, that I certainly think you should be, but there's a lot of people that brand themselves as quote unquote skeptics. I think that's a lazy way to look at things. I really do, because I think you're just looking for the holes in things without looking at it objectively. If you wanted to be a scientist, if you wanted to be someone who is a fan of science, then you have to look at it as a thing like, look at this information, let's study this without any bias or preconceived notions. I don't think they're doing that. They're just looking like they're trying to find a way where they can justify that it's fake, and that they're just going to do all sorts of mental gymnastics to try and make it fake. And that's a quote from Joe Rogan. But Kostica shared that on yesterday on his Facebook page, and it makes absolute sense. People will dance around all day long like Cyndi Lauper, trying to come up with some reason to justify this not being legit. Because again, to me, it boils back down, it's too simple.
Yeah.
It's not complicated enough for their indoctrinated matrix, their perspective, their mindset. So, you want to be a skeptic if you're talking about, looking at things objectively, not being a skeptic if you're trying to just make excuses and try and find holes in things that don't have holes in them, So I just had to share that when we got into that little brief part of the conversation.
Well, that's perfect because, that's you can't change somebody's mind if they already have their mind made up. It's not going to work. So it's like, okay, I love you, but I got to go.
Yeah.
That is absolutely the truth. And that's, I always say to people that this is the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life. And it's not difficult because it's hard. It's difficult because it's sad. It's hard. It's difficult when people you love won't listen. And they won't look, and there's so many people like my buddy Dickey, who is suffering from these horrific ulcers on his leg from bad circulation. And he decided to take the 21-day KongsWater challenge. And he, after about 25 days on the water and it really improving his situation, he told me, he said, I got a level with you, Jay. The only reason I decided to do this KongsWater challenge is because I wanted to prove to everybody what a bunch of BS it was. I wanted to prove it wrong. I wanted to show everybody that it was just a bunch of crap. And now I'm sold. Unfortunately right now he's in because he's been disabled because of this situation for quite some time. And he's in a heck of a pickle as far as trying to figure out how to come up with a down payment. His credit's ruined, things like that. He just needs to use Enagic financing, but at least now he's seeing a potential light at the end of the tunnel. And luckily we have a really good friend who has a machine that only lives like 5 minutes away from him. So
awesome.
She's being such an angel, and he's up there about 50 days now of doing the challenge, and it's really helping him out tremendously. And so I'm real excited for him. But the point is there's so many people who do this for the purpose of punching holes in the whole thing, and then they find out, oh wow, I can't. Like Robert Lento, he said, I'm an electrical engineer, and I dug into this thing. I wanted to learn everything about it, and my whole goal was to prove it to be a bunch of nonsense so I could justify not spending the money on the machine. Yeah. And now he has a machine, and his life has changed, just like everybody. Anybody who gets this machine, gets into this business and starts drinking the water on a continual basis, it is going to change their life for the better. And you know, so it's such a great thing being able to share this and share stories and share the incredible gift that this is. And so we're pretty much about, you know, we're just about 45, 50 minutes into this thing. So I'm thinking that what I'd like to ask you, Brenda, is if you have any last parting comments that you would like to give to the audience, that you know, any encouragement, anything like that, that you think would be helpful to people that are going to be listening to this as time goes by.
Were you gonna say something, Sean?
No, I was just saying, yeah, and I was telling my buddy I'm almost done. Forgot I was not plugged off. Go. Sorry.
If anything, I would just tell people, you know, don't give up, and just know that, you know, people really need this, and we're on the verge of it exploding, right? So if you and even if you don't have a system yet, save up for it, because your health is your wealth. People have it wrong. Oh, I can't afford it. Well, but you can afford, you know, if an emergency happened and like your car, $5,000, you'd come up with that money in a heartbeat. So, you know, it's like shifting the priority, because without your health, you can't work. Without work, you don't have money. Okay. So that's a cycle. So changing that mindset, because that's what I had to do. And people will come up with the money. If it's important, they will. But just stay positive, stay focused, focus, because things are coming at, you know, at me constantly. It's like, no, this is what I want to do. I'm focusing on that. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So if that's anything, that's all I wanted to say. And I'm so grateful to both of you, to all of you that are watching as well. Thanks for letting me share my story. I really appreciate it. And thank you for all you do.
Well, I have no doubt that your story is going to change somebody's life at some point in time. You've already changed multitudes of lives in the last 10 years. And like you said, we're just getting started. This thing's a baby. It's a little tiny, itty bitty little kitty cat right now. It's going to grow up into a giant tiger. And,
bless it all. So, no, you guys are beautiful. Yeah, thank you. And hey, and thanks again for the insight on the new theme song that we got to bust out at the next convention.
Okay, I want you to record that.
The right stuff.
As our normal show consists, you know, we are the Kong family, and we are here to change the world. And people might think that that's crazy, but the truth is we're watching it happen every single day. Yesterday, I saw 6 more worlds get changed. And that was just the ones I saw. And, you know, so every time a world is changed, the world changes. And so, you know, we're here to do it. And hey, Sean, how is it that we're changing the world again, brother?
1 glass of absolutely hydrating, supremely oxygenated, wonderfully hydrogen-rich 9.5 at a time.
Ow!
Amen,
Shazam!
baby. One lightning
You do got the right stuff.
One incredible guest, one amazing, informative, educational show at a time, one amazing family member at a time.
And a beautiful, focused host in Mr. J. John Surprise.
That's right.
Thank you much.
That's right.
Love what you do, bud. Love what you do.
I love you guys so much. Brenda, I love you. I appreciate you coming here today and sharing your magic with the family. And definitely look forward to seeing you. If not sooner, we'll see you next, hopefully we'll see you next September down in Vegas for the big hoo-ha.
Woohoo, hoo-ha.
We'll be making it to that, and looking forward to getting to
I love you guys.
Hug again. And so, yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you
for coming here today and being so gracious with your time and you know, sharing your magic with the family. And so
it's my honor. I love you guys. It was fun. You make it fun. You know, that's what life's about, is having fun.
Yeah. If you're not having fun, you're doing something wrong. And definitely hook that friend of yours up that you think should come on the show. I'm constantly in need of guests. I've found it's a very daunting task trying to get guests 5 to 7 days a week. And so,
Oh
anybody
yeah,
who-
I'll hook you up.
Just tell them to scream at me. And
I will.
So, all right, you guys, thank
All
you
right,
so
guys.
much for being here. Get out there, change the world, starting with your own. And of course, do not forget your hugs. These things are important. You need your hugs and your HooDeeHoos. Love you guys so much. Make it a great day. Get out there, change that world, starting with your own. HooDeeHoo.
Love you guys.
Yeah. Love you. Later. Have a blessed day.
You too.
See you, honey. Make it a great day.
Thanks. Bye, honey. Thank you. Thank you.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Thank you for being here.